Hello, everyone. Today we have one of my students, Ms. Lu, with us, and we're going to be talking about some of the subject that we learned in AP Physics 2. And to begin with, we will talk a little bit about herself, and then the hobbies, and then we're going to talk about science, and then the physics, and then among the physics, then we'll talking about what particular area that she's more interested, and then we have a little question in the end. And so, Ms. Lu, would you like to take a few moments to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, for sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Sophia. I am 16 years old and I am a high school student who is studying physics this year. Outside of physics, some of my interests include economics and many current social issues. Yeah, so those are all topics that I'm very interested in and that I'm seeking to go into in the future.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for coming to our program. And so can you tell us, what is it that you are looking for in a high school education? And now you come to Pacific Academy with a purpose in life. And what are you looking for? And what stand up for yourself as a different student from other people?
I would say in terms of my education, what I'm really looking for is the knowledge and the overall understanding of the world that can prepare me for whatever difference or whatever impact that I want to make in the future. And I think my current school does that quite well by offering, a plentiful quantity of support and resources to each of their students. In terms of what might make me a bit different, I would say I'm a student who's very concerned about social issues and economics, but at the same time, I'm also quite interested in STEM and logic and reasoning. Yeah, so I think if in the future I'm able to combine those two areas, then I could bring a different set of skills to the field that I want to go into. No matter if that field is in STEM or if it's in some other area.
Mm-hmm. I know we only all have 24 hours. So as a student in Pacific Academy, I'm sure the life is very hectic sometimes. And so what is the hobby that you personally have to maybe relax yourself, maybe open your eyes to the rest of the world? Can you talk a little bit about your personal hobbies?
Yeah, for sure. So two main things. I really like to read. That's a hobby that I've had since childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I also really like to browse the news as well. Yeah, so that's probably a more current hobby that I've developed since entering high school, right? But I feel that as I've gotten older, I've been more aware of current global issues. And, right now I really care about what's going on in the world, and in the kind of world that I'll be living in after high school.
Mm-hmm. Even though I'm a physics student and knowing that my student care about the world and open up the news and read about the news, what's happening in different parts of the world, really warm up my heart. And, I want to give you a high five for that. So we're going to talk a little bit about science now. So we have biology, chemistry, and physics. And so out of all this science, different science and technology subjects, computer science and so on, what have you found to be very interesting and passionate for yourself, and why is that make a difference for you?
Yeah, I think physics, out of all the sciences, is definitely what really stood out to me and what really, it's the science that really spoke to me personally.
I'm sure
Because
you're saying that not because I'm a physics teacher, it's because of you really do care about physics, right?
yeah, yeah. So I say I'm someone who definitely wants to, understand the world and also, find my own meaning of the world. Yeah, so that's part of the reason why I look at the news and why I study economics, right? And then the same thing applies to physics. I feel like by having a better understanding of the natural world and how the universe works, how it functions and forms. I think all of that can, help me make my own judgments and help me find my own meaning through a science-based method.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned economics, and you also mentioned physics. What the two are very quite different, right? So what is it that you think that these two maybe relate to each other, and can one help the other, and can they be combined, or what is your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, I think although they're in different areas, fundamentally these two subjects are quite similar, right? Both of these subjects seek to explain different processes and different different areas of life, whether that's in the sciences or whether that's among humans, right? And in the social world that we live in. I think both economics and physics have helped me better understand our world, and has given me a more purposeful and meaningful educational journey because of it.
Mm-hmm. I'm impressed that one of my students can actually relate social science to physical science. Certainly, they can see the similarity among, even though they are two different subjects. So I'll give you a high five again on that. And so now we are going to talk a little bit about physics now. So in the physics, AP Physics 2 especially, we have about totally 17 chapters in one semester, and that's definitely very overwhelming. And I'm sure I have gone through this semester with a 17 chapter at the same time. Well, not at the same time, it's one chapter at a time. So we start from fluid dynamics, we go into thermodynamics, and then we go into electricity and then magnetism. And then we go into optics and then quantum mechanics, and then we end up with nuclear physics. So out of all those big subjects, what do you think about physics overall, and what do you like the most, and you think can benefit you the most?
I would say out of all our chapters, I definitely enjoyed quantum mechanics the most, and I also think that it's the most useful chapter for the area that I personally want to go into. Yeah. Again, I think quantum mechanics is able to better understand both the very macro and the very micro and smallest areas of our world. And then it's really the fundamental laws and essence that governs the natural order or the natural world that we live in, right? So I think through quantum mechanics, I'm able to better understand science as a whole, and I'm definitely better able to, interpret it and form a knowledge-based understanding of our world.
Mm-hmm. So out of this different kind of subject, you say you're more interested in quantum mechanics, and so are there anything that you want to say to the other high school student, in different part of the world, and what would be the kind of thing that you would say to them to inspire them, perhaps, and to share your feeling with them? Does the physics that you learn can actually help a leader to make a better decision, and how is that so? Can you share a little bit about this type of this type of feeling and thoughts with us?
Yeah, definitely. So I think first thing, it's really important that quantum mechanics, right, and increasing your understanding of the world helps you form your own perspective on issues, right? And then you're not just following, what other people tell you to. So I think for me, that's like the main reason why I want to gain more knowledge about these different things. And then second of all, it's really important to have both STEM and a social background in any field that you go into, right? Nowadays, we see lots of really smart, talented, scientists, right, who might not know too much about how to apply their extensive knowledge to social issues to benefit people, right? And then we also see many leaders in, different countries and among people who aren't very well informed about science. Yeah, so I think if you can have a sort of leader that is both well educated in science and and different social issues, I'm not sure if it's all right to mention names, but I know certain leaders that I myself really admire, like Benjamin Franklin, and then more recently, Germany's Angela Merkel. Yeah, I think both of those leaders really use their scientific background, right, to benefit humanity as a whole. So I think that's something that I really, admire and something that I really look towards doing in the future.
Mm-hmm. I really is in agreement with you that a lot of scientists, if they only focus on science and they really don't have as much of concern to the humanity or society, then that would be kind of a shame that they produce a lot of technology product and they really don't have a purpose, whether that would be doing the good things for the human and the earth in general. And that would be kind of a shame. And on the other hand, if in the social science side, if or society side, if a leader, in a position to make a lot of decisions, but at the same time they don't really have some science as a background to help them to make more of an objective type of opinion, that's also kind of decision without a base. So I certainly really appreciate that you can appreciate at a young age like 16 to notice and to note that the combination of social science together with physical science can really make a big difference. And so at this point, our time is almost running out. Are there any questions that you may ask to anybody, including the physics teacher or the science teacher or the leader in the world? Are there something that you would like to ask and you think that you wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I think I'm someone who really enjoys looking at, different perspectives of the world, right? And I'm open to changing my own viewpoint based on the knowledge or experiences that other people might have, right? So I think something that would be good to ask to everyone is taking a look at physics and science or some of like the social issues that are going on, right? Based on your personal background and personal experiences, right? How would you interpret that to form your own perspective of our world, right? And then also, how can you then use your perspective, I guess, to try to influence the work that you do in a very, science-based or very informed manner. So I think that's a question that I would definitely be interested in knowing, and that people should ask for themselves as well.
So it sounds like that's a question to yourself, and then also to the leader or the teachers that are around you, and also you're trying to ask the question for the young people, the high school student in different parts of the world, and this certainly is a very valid question. So to close our interview, I would like to ask you in our class, right? So we have 4 students. And you're one of them, and all 4 of them are musicians, and including yourself, you play violin. And so, what were the method, or what did myself, right? So I'm your teacher, Dr. Jane, emphasize in the class that have helped you learn. Can you share a little bit about that? Or what have I stressed, or what have I talked about? Or what I've like remind you, and what aspect of the teaching actually does become more useful and more valuable and inspiring.
I see. I think my honest opinion would be that
Honest is the best. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah. You can shoot me down. Yeah,
no. But
yeah.
I was actually thinking, the physics that we learn in the classroom, right? Well, that's certainly useful knowledge. Most important for me would probably be your teaching style and your, I guess, amount of time and effort and and then also the sort of, I guess, personal values and way of life that you try to teach to us. I think because knowledge can be learned from a lot of different sources, right? Yeah, but I think your way of teaching and also of having us be more diligent and then ask more questions and think for ourselves, that mindset is definitely something that you can't see in many other places. Yeah, so I think out of all of the things that I've learned this year so far, that's actually more important than the actual physics concepts. Yeah.
Well, thank you for the compliments. I'm not asking for you to complimenting me, but certainly life is more important than physics alone. And if there's anything that's important that a teacher wanted to convey to the student, it would be a life lesson and on top of physics. So I'm glad that a little bit of what I say can actually benefit and influence my student in the positive way, hopefully. And so I really enjoyed teaching physics. So maybe I want to ask one more question. We do have different format that we use to teach physics, AP Physics 2 in this particular case. So we have lab, we have projects, we have video-based type of feedback. We have the traditional type of homework. And then we have lectures, and we have going to the whiteboard so you can then share and talk. And we have you work on the exercises on the desk by yourself, and then I just kind of walk by so you can ask questions whenever that you have a chance to. And sometimes I do talk about different other type of things like the Chinese, some ancient people's some memos and words that they share the wisdom, right? Stuff like that. So among all those different formats, which one have you remember and have you actually feel like you've been inspired? Can you share about that?
I think I definitely tend to learn best, right, when I'm able to process the information myself, and I'm able to do my own independent sort of thinking about that, right? So in terms of the actual work that we do, things like the videos, and then like the self work that we do on different problems in the classroom has definitely been more beneficial to me. And then also, as you said, right, some of the Chinese poems or the messages that you share, they help us have a different, I guess, attitude or mindset towards learning. I feel like, yeah, especially over this break, sharing the different messages was a good reminder, I guess, to not do the work just to get it done, right? Even though sometimes we might feel like, like I just want to get this done. Yeah, but also looking at the long term, right? What can I learn from this work, and what can I take away from it after winter break is over, or after this grading period is over? Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel resonated when you say that that I do emphasize to my student to keep the learning attitude instead of that you want to have a grade and you want to later have a good package to present to the college for application of colleges. That you want to have a humble mentality and you are here to learn, and with that mentality and attitude, then you will actually learn the best. And doesn't matter the physics is over, the semester is closed, but your hunger for knowledge will still be there. And with that kind of, with building up that kind of attitude would actually give you the best shot in life in the long run. So I'm glad that you were able to elaborate on that, and that really means something to me. So we have a few minutes left project learning is one of the things that a lot of educators and students feel really good about. And so I don't know, we did use project-based learning. What is your viewpoint on what we use, and which project have done the best learning for yourself? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, right, I want to point out that as someone who is also really focused or focused on the social impact of different things, right? I think project-based learning is definitely a good future of classroom teaching style.
Do independent research too, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think students definitely learn better when they're able to self-guide their work and they're able to ask their own questions rather than other people telling them what to do. This is something that I've found true throughout my entire learning career as a student. Yeah, so I've been grateful for the chance to do project-based learning. In terms of
you have done quite a bit of project. Are there any particular project that actually that you remember the most and you learn quite a bit from that? Are there something like that?
Yeah. So the project that was probably the most enjoyable for me to do was the research paper that we had to write about musical instruments. Okay, so as a violin player myself, I wrote my paper on the physics of violin strings, right? And I looked at the wave-like vibrations of the violin strings, right? And how that is similar to the electron orbitals. And I was able to learn more about quantum mechanics and learn more about like the particle motions of of different things through that paper that I wrote.
So it just feels good that you play, you have a hobby and it's a violin, and the violin actually turns out to be relating to a subject that you feel the most energy with, which is quantum mechanics. So indeed, the different wavelengths that the violin string can play, it's very similar to how the electron can have different wavelengths running around the orbits at a different energy level and a different wavelength. So that really, it's not just inspiring you, but it's also inspiring myself. So I think we have come to an end of the interview, and I really do feel that it's a very enjoyable to talk with one of my students. In this case is Ms. Lu, and I wish you the best luck in your study for the next semester and also later for your college. And thank you for your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me on here.
Sure.